You know, guys, it is so fascinating to hear the members of the DA obsess about this idea of the ANC not getting over 50% in 2024. Sorry. That is one thing that the DA has been obsessing about, this idea of the ANC not getting over 50% in 2024. But one thing that the DA has not been paying attention to, it is the fact that they themselves might take a huge knock in 2024. That's what people are saying, man. If you put your ear to the ground and you listen to what the people are saying that the Democratic Alliance is going to do bad in 2024. They're saying that they're going to do bad under the leadership of John Steenhuisen than they did under Mmusi Maimane, man. You remember Mmusi Maimane never healed from the Democratic Alliance, calling him a failed experiment after he failed to take the party over 22%. The legendary Helen Zelle's 22%. The party called him a failed experiment, and the man went out to open up his own political party, Build One South Africa, that is now contesting for the presidency in 2024. So, guys, do you think that the Democratic Alliance is going to do good under the leadership of John Steenhuisen in 2024? Do you think that our politicians, our race-baiting politicians, are going to allow a situation where the Democratic Alliance do good in 2024?
So if we look around and we look at the rest of the political parties, we've got the DA with a leader that falls into that young category, but it doesn't reflect the demographics. How much is that going to hurt them at the next election?
Look, in my view, the DA is going to decline marginally next year, mainly because of the racial ructions that have taken place in the party and the failure to manage that process. The fact that you have Steenhuisen, who is white, and there's nothing wrong in being white, as a leader of the party, begs the question, is South Africa ready for a white president?
Man, I think all of us know the answer to that. South Africa is not ready for a white president. The media in this country and the politicians will never allow a situation where we have a white president in this country. Never. They will never allow that. Never. Man, when you look at this whole Democratic Alliance, the EFF and the ANC, it is funny to see how they attack each other, because when you look at, when you listen to the Democratic Alliance making an argument why South Africans shouldn't vote for the ANC and the EFF, the DA is making a compelling argument why South Africans shouldn't vote for the ANC and the EFF. But when it comes to the EFF and the ANC, man, things are different. You don't have to make a compelling argument against the Democratic Alliance. You just have to say these guys are racist, man. They are kicking black intellectuals out, and it's fine. It is fine. So South Africa will never have a white president, especially that comes from the Democratic Alliance. When you have the ANC and the EFF going around telling people that, guys, no matter what we do, you cannot vote for the Democratic Alliance. You must remember that we come from Apartheid. You can never vote for a white president in 2024. These guys are racist. These guys are kicking out the black intellectuals in the party. That is the only argument that the ANC and the EFF are making against the Democratic Alliance, and it is working. It's working. This is why I said that this country, man, we are not ready for a white president. We are not ready. Do you honestly think that our politicians, our race-baiting politicians, will allow a situation where South Africa has a white president? Do you honestly think that? Never. I don't care how good the guy is. He will never be the president of South Africa. But. Guys, I could be wrong on this one. I think the only party that can prop up a white man and convince the majority of black South Africans to vote for is the African National Congress, man. The ANC is the only party that can do it. The ANC, it is the only party that can convince the majority of black voters in this country to vote for a white man. Man, the Democratic Alliance, man, they are not in a position to convince anyone to vote for a white president, especially John Steenhuisen, man. Especially what happened with Mmusi Maimane.
My sense is that South Africa is not ready for a white president, given our history. There is space for white people to be part of the political arrangement, but not a white president. So I think that that is going to hurt the DA slightly, but they're not going to decline significantly. So they could be in the space between 18% and 20% there.
So I wonder how the DA is going to respond to that, man. if the DA were to get like maybe let's say 17 or 18%, are they going to call John Steenhuisen a failed experiment? Is the DA going to call John Steenhuisen a failed experiment if John Steenhuisen fails to go over the legendary DA's 22%? Are they going to call him a failed experiment? These are the reasons that have been made by ANC and the EFF. You just have to take, I mean, like, guys, honestly, if you were a campaign strategist of the EFF and the ANC, I don't have to work hard to discredit the DA. I don't have to. I can make one advert, man. I can make one video. Put the money behind that and promote it all over social media, man. You just have to show the Democratic Alliance getting rid of all those black guys, and you have to say that now they have John Steenhuisen as the leader of the party. This guy never even went to the university, and they kicked out Musimaimane, they kicked out Bongani Baloyi, they kicked out Lindwe Mazubuko, Phumzile Van Dam. You can mention them all. And it would be sufficient to South Africans not to vote for the Democratic Alliance.
The thing about the DA is that those who vote for the DA, i.e. white people, they do vote. They go out and vote. Those who vote for black parties, the ANC in particular, they tend to say, you know what, even if I don't vote, it doesn't make a difference. So the DA is not going to decline significantly. But I think they squandered a historic opportunity. If they didn't have the racial ructions that they engineered internally themselves, I think the DA would do well. They could possibly.
And these racial tensions that Prince Mashele is talking about is again, people don't think that the DA is dealing decisively with this whole thing of racism. They are not dealing decisively with these accusations that have been leveled against them of racism there in the Democratic Alliance. You know, man, many things have been said, a lot of things have been said about Helen Zille, and the Democratic Alliance has never done anything about that, man. So most of these guys who live with the Democratic Alliance, they come out and they tell us what's happening in the party, and that is not working in the favor of the party after all. I mean, like, when you see a guy like Musimaimane and Bongani Baloyi and Herman Mashaba opening up their own political party, what does it say to you? It says that these guys were mistreated there. It says they were mistreated. So you don't have to make a compelling argument against the Democratic Alliance going into 2024. You don't have to. I mean, like, I would do the same thing if I were a campaign strategist, maybe for the EFF of the ANC or the ANC. I would do the same thing. These guys are racist. They are kicking out black intellectuals. Do not vote for them. We come from apartheid. We cannot afford having a white president. That's it.
Even become the government of South Africa after 2024. But the rest is history.
Yeah. Now, that space, that gap that the DA didn't take has been filled by some new parties. Obviously, there are people that sit. I always am amazed in South Africa when we call the DA a right-wing party. In any other country, they'd be called a left-wing party. But that's just how we do it in South Africa. But anyway, the DA squandered an opportunity that they had that was building up from 2014.
Exactly, man. If you remember, guys, at some point the South Africans were contemplating about voting for the DA, man. At some point the South Africans saw the DA as an alternative of the African National Congress. But we don't know what happened along the way. And the inception of the economic freedom fighters, man, they didn't make things good for the economic for the DA. At some point, I know that the South Africans, man, at some point they were considering voting for the Democratic Alliance. At some point, South Africans were seeing the DA as the alternative of the African National Congress. But I don't know what happened, man. What happened, guys? What happened with the DA? You remember the DA under Helen Zille, man? The DA under Helen Zille, it was popular, man. It was popular.
And they chose to go and respond to the loss of a few white votes to the Freedom Front Plus. And now have completely retreated into their lager by the looks of things. That gap, one would imagine many of these new parties that have emerged seem to be going after that gap. Now, I think it's got to be said first thing about some of those new parties, and there we're talking Action SA, Rise Mzansi, Build One South Africa, maybe even Chaluva, just looking at some of these parties. There seems to be a slight difference with the development of those parties when one compares to the other parties that came before them, the new parties in the new South Africa. From the UDM all the way through to the EFF were built around one person starting an entrepreneurial party, right? That party is only there to provide that leader with a job.
Yeah, look, it's not, well, maybe we can talk about individual parties. But this wave of new parties actually are not different in that sense. If you look at...
They're not different, man.
Ngezozi, he is in the main the only towering figure of Rise Mzansi. If you look at Build One South Africa, Mmusi Maimane is in the main one towering individual. Maybe Prince Mashele is a bit different. In the sense, he seems to me that he is the only one of the three, even if include Shuluba as the fourth one, who has built a party that has a representation across South Africa, and you can see individuals elsewhere who are leaders of the party. But the question is, what is different between these parties, these four parties, Shiluba, Action SA, Rise Mzansi, and Build One South Africa? If you listen to what they claim to stand for, they actually, all of them stand for the same thing.
Man, I believe that Prince Mashele listens to my videos, man. I'm convinced that Prince Mashele listens to my videos, man, because this is one thing I've been saying, man, for weeks. That there's no reason for these guys to open up separate political parties. When they stand for the same values, man, these guys, they have the same values. They want the same things for South Africa. But for some reason, these guys, they don't want to be led. Everyone wants to be a leader. That is the problem, man, going into 2024. Everyone wants to be a leader in South Africa. Everyone. You listen to the policies of Shiluva. You listen to Action SA, Build One South Africa, and guys, like guys, all of these guys, all of their policies and values are the same. There's no need for all of these guys to have four separate political parties. Like, it's fascinating, man, like looking at these guys, like, guys, like, why don't you simply come together and open up a one political party that is going to challenge the DA or challenge the African National Congress or the EFF? You can build one party that is going, that is strong enough, man. Just imagine the partnership of Prince Mashele, Mmusi Maimane, Bongani Baloyi, and Songeso Zibi. Man, those guys, they can make a formidable party, but no, everyone wants to be a leader. Everyone wants to be a leader in South Africa, man.
They are disgruntled with the corruption in the ANC. They are disgruntled with lawlessness in South Africa. All of them believe in the private sector, the market economy. There is hardly anything different between them. The question is, why have they not come together to form one party? It is because the leaders of these parties cannot live with the idea of being led by the other guy. Exactly. And that has been the weakness of new parties in post-apartheid South Africa. That includes these ones, but it also includes those who came before these ones, like your UDMs, for example, like your Good Party, for example, like your COP, for example. That has been the weakness of post-apartheid South African new parties.
And when these guys come in, and that's why it's so hard for them to sell this idea of their new political parties to people, because you guys don't want to be led. You guys don't want to be led, man. The only person I understand why he won't be led is Mmusi Maimane, man. Mmusi Maimane was called a failed experiment. I understand why Mmusi Maimane opened up his own political party. There is no way Mmusi Maimane is going to allow another man to lead him. But it is a problem, guys. This thing, it is very serious in South Africa right now. Why don't these guys combine ideas, combine resources, form a one political party, a formidable political party that is going to challenge all of these guys? But it seems like all of them, they want to be the leaders, and that is like, they are not the only ones. You look at the ANC, those guys who left the African National Congress, Ismail and Karl Nias and Ismail, they have two separate political parties. They believe in radical economic transformation, but both of these guys, they have two separate political parties. So no one wants to be led in South Africa. It seems none of these politicians, they don't want to be led. Everyone wants to be the president. Everyone wants to be the leader of the party. Even the guys who believe in same policies and the same values, man. You open up your own party, I will open up my own party. That's how it goes.
it seems to me that there is one thing that divides those new parties. And here one must separate Action SA from the others. Action SA has unequivocally stated that they don't want racial legislation, whereas the other parties remain committed in one way or another. I know I've had the pleasure of interviewing multiple times all of the leaders of those new parties. And if one looks at Musi Maimane or Songezo Zibi or even Bongani Baloyi, they will not answer the call directly on racial legislation. They will trot out the line of social justice. We do have to have social justice. So will you be repealing any acts? Well, we need social justice, which means they're not going to repeal any acts. So to me, those parties are looking a lot more like, we will just have the same policies as the ANC, we'll just do it better.
Yeah, but look, even the Action SA, by the way, it has a strong policy on social justice. The reason why...
Man, come on, Emin Mashaba, man. Mike Shem tried to defend Action SA. You know he's a good friend of Emin Mashaba. Why are you calling him out?
When Mashaba in the first place left the DA, it's precisely because he was pushing the angle of social justice, which means, by the way, redress, which means addressing the specific needs of black people, the poor, to be specific. So it's not as if Action SA is different from Rise Mzansi or Build One South Africa, for example. They, in my view, in terms of policy, they're not different. Here is the thing about these parties. If we were to take the ANC in the first 10 years, post-1994, most, if not all, of these leaders of these new parties supported that ANC. And they voted for it. Songas have voted for the ANC in 1994 and 1999. Same applies to Herman Mashaba. And by the way, they are not making any secret of this. Yeah. Why? Because they believe that the ANC at that point was taking South Africa in the right direction. Mm-hmm. At some point, they believe that the ANC veered off the rails. So what do they want to do? They want to bring back South Africa to the rails. What are those rails? Is the ANC in the first 10 years, post-1994. So this idea that they dislike and hate everything about the ANC is actually not true. They dislike and hate something specific about the ANC that evolved later. But the early ANC, post-1994, they actually agree with it. And by the way, most South Africans would agree with that position, including myself, by the way. I supported the ANC personally. I voted for the ANC in 1994, 1999, and so on. But the ANC has become corrupt, has become destructive, has misgoverned our country. Everything is collapsing around us. And that's what these new parties, by the way, are decrying.
So guys, what are your thoughts, man, on this whole thing? What are your thoughts? Please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.